Now, as most of you guys know, I make 2 videos a day here on this channel. I never plan for a third video. If a third video is made, it's typically something that I think you need to hear. It's something that a lot of the time is urgent, or just something that I'm like, have to share with you, okay? And this is one of those moments where I have to share this with you. It's incredible, the clip that I just heard on CNBC about Tesla. This individual says Tesla is the AI stock that is massively underappreciated. And I think that is going to resonate a lot with you guys, and I think it's going to make a lot of sense. Now, I'm going to try to put some, numbers to paper, if you will, and in what could happen to Tesla stock when the markets realize this over the next 12 to 24 months. Now, this clip on CNBC is actually titled, "Markets Could Be In for an Everything Rally," says EMJ Capital's Eric Johnson, but it's mainly really about Tesla stock. Yes, he does say we could be in for an everything rally, but he's mainly just talking about Tesla and some other, crypto ETFs or whatnot. I'm going to share with you the Tesla part, but I found it kind of crazy that this was not a Tesla headliner because of what he said about Tesla stock. So go ahead, take a listen to this clip, and then we'll be back to discuss it a little bit more in depth.
Investors look for opportunity. Joining us now is EMJ Capital founder and president Eric Jackson, someone who I know was happy that the Fed did double, right? The 50 basis point cut. You're in all these sort of high beta tech stocks looking for the Fed cut. So are you repositioning? Are you doubling down? What are you doing now?
Yeah, well, Sarah, you're a student of the Fed history, and so the last time that the yield curve was inverted for so long and then finally broke out to the upside the way that we've seen recently, in a benign economic environment where rates are cutting down, was August of 1982. And when that happened, and there was a stock market rally, which lasted 10 months. NASDAQ went up 107% over those 10 months. So I think we could be in for an everything rally. It's not just small cap tech, although that will participate. It'll be the Mag 7. It'll be other stuff too.
Like Bitcoin, which is going up, gold is going up, commodities are going up. I mean, that speaks to the everything rally. So Tesla, there's a lot of excitement around Tesla lately. Deliveries coming in. Also, we get the robo-taxi day on the 10th. You say it's the biggest AI stock, which is not fully recognized as an AI play. Why?
Yeah, we also got the China news too, and that benefits Tesla as well overnight. It's the full self-driving is obviously what's going to drive the robotaxi event, and full self-driving is all neural nets. It's all AI. They're the leader in the world in terms of miles driven. They have all this information, which is making FSD better and better. So, yeah, I just don't think they have gotten the credit to this point for being an AI play that they will. The rally is going to continue, like we've seen for Tesla since August 5th, at least through the robotaxi event coming up next month. And the other thing is, if you watch the Larry Ellison Oracle Investor Day talk a couple of weeks ago, it's clear that he's still a huge fan of Elon's and of Tesla. And I don't think there's anybody in tech who I respect more in their opinion than Larry's. And Larry, even though he went off the board of Tesla 2 years ago, people forget. Part of what happens when he did that, he doesn't have to do any filings. And so he has likely not sold any shares. Eric, they're probably worth $9 billion today from the $1 billion that he paid in December 2020.
I don't know how Larry's feeding his family at this point. Does the Elon Musk factor into any of your Tesla analysis? Obviously, polarizing guy. You hear these stories about people say, I can't buy a Tesla anymore because it's Elon Musk. Does that factor in at all? Or is that just sort of media and Twitter hype?
I mean, it factors for good and for bad, Brian, but I think the good is way more than the bad. This is a guy landing rocket ships on, platforms in the middle of the ocean. So I think for Tesla shareholders, the FSD story is an Elon story. So you take the good with the bad, and it's still a great story going forward.
This is a great.
I mean, wow. He said Tesla was the best AI stock right now, really the most underappreciated AI stock right now. And when you take a look back and just think about where Tesla has gotten to from where Tesla stock was at, that's obvious, right? Tesla was a $415 stock at the highs in 2021. Today, it's $254 as it gears up to launch the Robotaxi event. Hopefully, the subsequent actual launch of the Robotaxi network. And I do think, especially as we head into many Fed rate cuts over the next 12 to 24 months, getting back to a place of neutral projected by the end of 2025, Wall Street's going to start paying a lot more attention to these hyper growers, these companies that are going to use AI in a real world applicable way. I mean, yes, NVIDIA is a great company, right? It's one of the best companies that has ever, been around. And if you know the story of NVIDIA, it probably does qualify as the best company the world has ever seen. Okay. But the products that NVIDIA is making, that they are selling, need to have an end consumer. Okay. Yes, the products NVIDIA is making are bought by companies, but those companies need to, I guess I should say, have a product that is used by end consumers. And Tesla is by far the clear winner of that, using the AI capabilities that they are acquiring to actually make a product, which will be more of a service, to provide to customers on a real world massive scale. We don't know when eventually that will, happen. We don't know when we're going to see, the robotaxis ultimately. We're hoping at some point in 2025. It could be later than that. We'll see. But eventually this will happen. Now, as rates were risen and rates rose, the Fed was aggressive in raising rates and held them there for 18 months. Wall Street was getting 5% in treasury bonds, 4+% in treasuries, still getting close to 5% in short-term treasuries. Taking risk just did not make sense for a lot of, funds, for a lot of people. Well, as rates start to go lower and that risk-free return drops, that's where your equity risk premium starts to rise, where it makes a little bit more sense to take more risk in equities. Now, at the same time as that, something that Gary Black highlighted in a recent post on X, where he said that 2025 could be something like 2020, where, and even 2021, where earnings estimates rose a lot for Tesla, and that followed Tesla stock higher. In 2020, earnings estimates went up about 84%. That caused Tesla stock to go up over 700%. Now, that was obviously amplified because of the low interest rate environment we were in. Capital was cheap in that period in time. But if we go back to some semblance of that, you could see a large rally in Tesla. Now, AI is kind of an emerging field, right? Where you can get a little bit more optimism, maybe a little bit more valuation, maybe more believers in AI fields like Tesla's AI capabilities. Once Wall Street sees this on October 10th, you might get more people that start to actually believe in Tesla for the longer term, believe that Tesla is not a car company, that Tesla is really a tech company, but at the heart of it, that Tesla is actually an AI company. Now, Consensus has EPS for full year 2025 at $4.43 per share. As the Fed really does continue to cut rates, I think you could easily see 100 times multiple on that, which simple math would put Tesla stock at about $443 per share next year. Let alone if we come in at the higher end range of estimates, which is $8 per share of earnings, that would be a huge upside surprise for Tesla stock. That's not the overall consensus view of Tesla by many on Wall Street. That would be at 100 times multiple, an $800 stock for Tesla stock, right? that would be massive. 26 gets exciting because by then we're definitely going to be at neutral, which is 3%. We might be lower than that. Now we could drop to 0% on the federal funds rate by early 2025 if it looks like we're heading into a recession, or maybe down to 1%, something close to zero. And that would definitely, after that initial panic kind of selling, easily see an environment where by 2026 you could see $9 per share of EPS, which could push you to the 900s potentially by the end of next year, which that's not a base case assumption, but with AI, optimism, with Tesla presumably starting robotaxi deliveries by the end of 2025, with the federal funds rate at neutral, maybe less than that, 2%, maybe 1%. Let's say we do go into a recession and we kind of start to come out of it by the end of 2025, things start to pick up again. You could easily see Tesla at 100 times multiple with $9 of EPS for the year. And again, by then, the semi-factory is going to be complete. That's going to be up and booming again. I think we'll be in a generalized refresh cycle for Teslas. I think a lot of people bought Teslas in 2020 and 2021 and 2022. And, by 2025, especially the end of the year, I think a lot of people are going to be wanting to get that new Tesla, the cheaper, compact, Tesla. Hopefully that's got a good margin associated with it. All of these things could easily push Tesla's EPS to the $9 range, which is the high end range for 2026 earnings, which Wall Street looks at forward earnings. So really right now we're looking at 2025 earnings, and by 2025, by the end of 2025, we're going to be looking at 2026 earnings. So by the end of 2025, it could be totally plausible to be a $900, maybe $1,000 stock. And I really like Tesla at these prices, still down 40+% from all-time highs, because I think there's a lot of risk already baked into the stock. Now, some of that was China risk that's starting to go away a little bit as China has started to stimulate. And I do think there's still some recession risk that is also baked into Tesla stock from that standpoint. But unlike a Meta or, Microsoft or Apple that's like fully priced with zero downside risk really embedded in those stocks, Tesla has a lot of downside risk already priced into it. And as we unprice that risk, as things go better than feared, I think that just means a lot of upside for Tesla. So let me know what you guys think about this down below in the comment section. Hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you guys want to come trade with us live in real time. Check out that link down below in the description of this video. With that said, you guys have a great rest of your day and night. I will see you in the next one.